Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're going to share some huge, big key developments that you're not aware of, and that is XRP, Strongholds SHX, and Quant QNT, JPMorgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and even Citi. You're definitely going to want to stick around for this one. Absolutely consider sticking around to the very end of the outlines. Consider smashing that like if you haven't done so already. Let's jump into why this matters to you if you're a holder of one of the three or all three.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. So just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.
First, we're going to give a shout out once again to our brother in the community, Smoke. He's just been making life so much easier for deep dive researchers such as myself, Jesse, and even Channing. Thank you so much, man. We really do appreciate you, brother. As we jump into it, this site, what he has, he always brings the receipts. Smoke has this, and is so well worth pointing out. Number one, Ripple, the handshake with JPMorgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and Citi. As we know, JPMorgan, well, they have that partnership with Oracle. And who does some of that Oracle infrastructure for JPMorgan? Yeah, you already know the link there. But what about Oracle and Quant? Well, we already had a confirmed partnership, but we talked about this for more than 2-3 years at this point. Sometimes you don't hear all of the publicly released information because of NDAs. Where the case be, we're going to go ahead and get into why this is so important and why you're here today. As we pull this up, it's this. And in the documentation, and I did verify this even from my own search, if you go to docs.ripple.com, you first see this. And again, who do you see on the listed ones? You see JPMorgan Chase Bank. And I also saw another citation. If you go to the regular website, not through your phone, it lists this under, for example, the Filipino government also using this. And again, some of the key things in regard to Ripple XRP. So JPMorgan Chase Bank, interesting. As we get further down into it, like you see here at Maybank Philippines Incorporated and so on. But even in the other citations is when we get into what you're about to see on the other screen. And on the other screen, you see, for example, what's domestic, PayPal, Bank of America, Nacha. You even see, for example, the Federal Reserve System, standards and governance. Say what you want, Gilbert Verdin, right? Being part of the Federal Reserve Payments Task Force, right? He still sits as a chair. That's interesting. On top of that, what do you see in regard to Nacha? And again, the bottom left, built on a Ripple settlement infrastructure. That's amazing. And how it connects, obviously, to SWIFT, especially from the international side of things. So keep in mind the whole mention of, for example, Nacha. Well, before we get into that, we do have to share a little bit about the whole Wells Fargo plug. Because when we do, well, as I would always point out, boil it, mash it, stick it in a stew. You see from make.com, it's the orchestration. It's the whole key thing of what you see about Wells Fargo, the overledger, and how it all talks to each other. Because again, it's Wells Fargo doing an API call over to the interledger, or excuse me, the overledger. That probably too, right? And of course, overledger preparing that smart contract transaction and then finalizing it with a signed transaction. That's very important to always point out these key things. Let's take to the next part. Remember how we mentioned Swift? Well, from Swift, it says the panel has moved towards its conclusion by discussing the blockchain in detail. If banks can leverage this technology and how, think about what Quant looks to do, everybody, and I'll come back into the frame about this. Gilbert Verdin has mentioned numerous times the significance of Quant's overledger platform. The key enabler is to, for one, be blockchain agnostic and even wallet agnostic through the over wallet. But the bottom line is to leverage all existing technologies moving forward. If anything, that's a form of scalability. It doesn't matter necessarily if it's a project that only has 1,500 TPS or Hedera could do, for example, like 30,000. Or, there's some other big ones like people pointed out especially Gilbert Verdine with Cubic, like 15 million TPS. But the point isn't the TPS. The point is leveraging those underlying technologies of those infrastructures of those particular blockchain projects and so on, their architecture moving forward. Over Ledger leverages just that, their underlying tech. So moving forward, when you see these particular statements, whether it's from Swift and so on, you have a bigger idea, or better one moving forward. As I pull up this next part, again, cited from Swift, it's pointing out the whole thing from Swift about how Wells Fargo is, in fact, looking at this area. And are they using it? Ripple? Yes. They're looking at them as a key factor, as well as a lot of other banks, that if you're going to argue for the use case of blockchain, you could use the blockchain for mortgages, title deeds as well. Once you have I can't even pronounce that at this point, an agreement. I read all day. Sometimes words just shine up on the screen. But if you have an agreement on the blockchain, you have to give up your private key to release it. Think about this. Our technology allows fiat and cryptocurrencies to exist in parallel. He thinks this technology is the future. That was this other particular lady. I apologize. Although she agreed that there may be a way to go yet with regulatory concerns and decisions on how to best use the blockchain still has to be addressed. But again, to see this in regard to Quant, Swift, XRP, I think speaks a lot. Now, here's something else I want to show you. Again, this is taken from a particular cell phone. I don't know if it was Smokes or whoever's, but it talks about, for example, Citi. It says Bank of the Future. It says the ABCs of digital disruption and finance. I'll try to blow this up a little bit bigger. Yeah, sometimes when people take a screenshot with their cell phone, it's kind of hard to read it. But here's what it says in the citation from Citi. Escrow is designed, and it mentioned, for example, what is to be used. And just to zoom in a little bit more, it says specifically, it's the enablement of XRP, you can barely see it, XRP Ledger to be used in the Interledger protocol. Now, as we kick it over here, it has two lines. For one, it says Interledger Protocol, ILP. And like it says here, the figure of Ripple's RTP protocol, real time. Again, it's kind of hard to read it, but you see some of it. And it's there. Now, the other thing I want to point out, other than just sharing some of these key things, okay, is where it mentions specifically Nacha. This is where Stronghold plays a key factor. If you're not aware of Stronghold SHX, this is something that is partnered with both Ripple and, of course, Stellar. And, of course, they are part of Stellar's ecosystem, as in Stronghold. In the announcement, and I shared this before, but there's a lot of new people, Nacha did, in fact, welcome Stronghold as a preferred partner. This is big because we know where Stronghold SHX plays a key factor in regard to remittances. And again, combine that with a very, very low market cap compared to other projects, a lot of potential there. And as we also know, when it comes to Stronghold, they have a lot of what is referred to as ISO or 222 labs, because they are also in ISO 222 token. So Stronghold, of course, joined them a while back.
It's just piggybacking off of that news that was released today about them working together on a joint stablecoin, meaning they're working together on the stablecoin side of it, they're working together on the HTA side of it, because they see where we are moving globally, and they know that even in their realm, it's not going to be one player takes all. It's going to be a joint effort, a coalition like this collab that we're doing right now, a coalition of team to actually get to the finish line.
Oh man, this document, I mean, it just screams what I've been screaming at the community for a while, what I've been saying. Like you see here, Ripple as the key settlement infrastructure. Ripple. And then you've got all the payment systems for the country, Nacho, ACH, and the clearinghouse, which are literally relying on Ripple as the key settlement infrastructure. And that's your shared ledger right there. That key settlement infrastructure, that's your shared ledger. And then you've got the Citibank document, Bank of the Future, where they showed after our brother Max there. It talks about escrow solution, and it says the Ripple interledger protocol, which is what I've been telling everybody. The shared ledger, when you look at the BIS documents, that's the central banks for all central banks. When they're showing the unified ledger, you're seeing that it's connected via the interledger protocol. Same like the Hyperledger Foundation document that came out, that leaked out like 7-8 years ago. It was all the central banks were building on the XRP ledger, and you had the interledger protocol. And Stellar is also built on the interledger protocol. And now you see escrow solutions being built with Ripple. So when Quant talks about their escrow solution, and some of the Quant community members thinks like, oh, Ripple has nothing to do with that. It's all Quant. No, Quant is using Ripple's blockchain. Again, Quant builds multi-chain applications. They're picking the best features of each chain. That's what Gilbert always said. That's what he said at presentation. That's the reason he built Quant, so that he can pick the best features of each chain and build a multi-chain application. So the escrow solutions that you're seeing coming from Quant, their Quant products, all their solutions, Quant Flow, all these different solutions and products they have is using blockchain. So when you see escrow, it's Ripple that they're using for that. It's not just Quant alone. Quant as an operating system doesn't do anything when it sits on its own if you don't connect it to anything. That escrow solution is coming from XRP and the tokenization as well, and the CBDCs and everything. So it's just, that's what I've been trying to tell the community. Like, that's the interledger. It's just, that's what go on and on, man. Oh, it's right there. It's right there. It's what I've been trying to explain to everybody. Like, XRP is not going anywhere. The shared ledger is the XRP ledger, and Quant is allowing the whole world to connect into that shared ledger and connecting to every other blockchain at the same time and build multi-chain applications. That's how I see it. But the programmability of money, though, is coming from Quant. Quant is literally, you're tapping into that shared ledger, and you're able to program program those tokenized assets which are residing on those ledgers. Because when you have a tokenized asset, you can't tokenize an asset on an operating system. Like, the tokenized asset itself the tokenization is on the blockchain. When Gilbert Verdian said that all tokenized assets reside on the shared ledger, this is a distributed ledger. This is a blockchain. Tokenized assets, they don't exist in the air or just on an operating system. They exist on the blockchain. You need the blockchain. That's where they live, right? That's what Gilbert Verdian said. This where all of the tokenized assets reside when he was talking about the shared ledger. So, yeah, you can see my passion, my conviction coming out there. I hope I'm not. I hope I don't look too arrogant or like, I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm bullying anybody, but
Yeah, no, you good. But even what you just said too, just piggybacks on what the big boys are doing, which are working together. Like I said, JPMorgan, Bank of America, Citi, and I'm sure Wells Fargo is in there as well. But they didn't mention Wells Fargo in the news thing that came out today. But I'm sure that they're a part of it. But it's the same thing with Quant and XRP and XLM and XDC and even Hedera gets their honorable mentions because they may be a little newer to the party, but they're making up a lot of space and room, like running down the field with the ball. But yeah, it is truly, like I've said before, and like you said, it is a joint effort, and it is because it is a joint effort is that it will be successful. So that was the most brilliant thing that Gilbert could have done, was to say, how can I create a system that brings the strengths of every single individual blockchain into one space and utilize them simultaneously? That was incredible, to have that, because most people, when they think blockchain, they think singular network. They don't think, how can I tap into every network and then utilize the strengths of those networks to make almost a super network, if you want to think about it like that, which is kind of crazy, which will in turn be those multi-chain applications that they deliver.
Well, you need those applications if you want to be able to use money. If you want to be able to use CBDCs and all this tokenized money, you need use cases, right? So that's why you need to bridge those legacy systems, and you need to use the best features of each chain. So to build multi-chain applications, and so that you can build those use cases and bring utility and use cases to the shared ledger. Like, if you don't produce use cases, you can't use the money.
No, absolutely.
So
Like
that's why
the
they're putting everything up.
utility, that's right. The utility in motion is what's going to bring the value. And without the utility, it's just the operating system. Without the utility, it's just the blockchain. You know, without the transactions flowing through it and the people using it, there's nothing other than just a technology. So you're 1,000% correct. 1,000% correct.
And Quant is using like many blockchains like Avalanche and Hedera and like you name
Absolutely.
them. It's probably it's using so many of them and
And
so many
also
different solutions.
says, if we don't have you, just reach out and we will connect you.
Oh, you're 100% right. And you know what? I think it gets even bigger than that because I remember doing some research on that and on Quant, and it was saying that you don't even, from my understanding, right? But this was 2 years ago, so it's I'm very loose on that. But from what I remember,
You ran Maximus away. Go ahead.
yeah, okay, he'll come back. We miss him already. So it was saying what I studied was saying that basically as long as you followed their specification, you could connect the blockchain yourself. As long as you followed their guidelines and specification, you could connect it yourself. But if you need help, come to us. It's
Yeah.
what I had understood, but it was a long time ago. It's what I had understood at the time. So
Yeah.
you could have 1,000 blockchains connected to it, but you've got those big
Absolutely.
ones, right? Those main ones, and it's unlimited use case, man. It's insane.
And it's probably because they have the language in a language that people who do coding and different things of that nature can already recognize. It's nothing new or nothing that they have to go to school for or take another class to understand. Where they like, oh, okay, well, this looks just like what I'm used to normally working with. So yeah, let me connect this to this. It gives me interoperability. Wow, this is amazing type situation. Plug and play technology.
Quant,
Absolutely.
what a beast. Where's Max?
Come on back, Maximus.
I didn't want to cut you guys off while you had a good perspective.
That's
You
okay.
good?
So-
You good?
You got to cut me off, man.
Yeah. So, guys, there you have it. You know, another thing we want to throw into the whole mix is if you think about it, we mentioned Citi. Well, Citi, yeah, think about it. Who were the hosts of the regulated settlement network and the regulated liability network? Citi. So you can see how it all comes together. And I was glad to show you that particular example of Wells Fargo, Overledger integration. Again, this is major for XRP, Stronghold, and even Quant, because say what you want. I mean, we didn't talk a lot about obviously Stronghold, but that Nacha partnership they have, that speaks a lot in itself.
Remember, I told you that the first time the regulated liability network was ever mentioned, they actually called it the regulated Internet of Value. That's actually a Citi document. That's the Citi document. The first time the regulated Internet of Value was ever mentioned, it's a Citi document. I think it's 2023 or 2021, 2023, I think. And then they changed the name because they didn't want people to know it was the Internet of Value. Sorry, man, I had just had to put that in there because just to add to
No,
what
all
you
good.
said.
Well, you're providing more value, hence the Internet of Value.
I'm trying.
Well, guys, that's all we have for you guys today. Simply do us a favor. You listen to the entire outline and type in this key term into the comments. And that is, well, I'll give the honorable mention to Jesse. He's never done this. What would be the code word for everybody, Jesse?
Oh, my goodness. Quant is a beast.
Quant is a beast, and we'll know that you listen to the entire outline. On behalf of myself, Jesse, and King Channing, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. We'll see you on the next one.